I'm in a place where I desire to be in a loving relationship. And with that, let's say I first desire and strive to continuously have a loving relationship with myself. And all the changes or experiences that on a daily basis, we go outside and go inside and we're exposed to a multitude of different stimuli, and our reaction, review, and evolution personally, emotionally, physically to that stimuli is we're constantly managing that. Whether it's our acceptance of it, our promotion of it, our determination that it no longer serves what we feel our purpose is, trying to remain in harmony, with yourself, let alone with the environment around you, is just a constant thing. A lot of things that you see online and social media, there's conversations about mental health and the mental health of the people around you and the mental health of your partners as well as yourself, and how does that factor into, is this person a good match? Are we compatible? Or am I even ready to take on the responsibility of being one half of a team? These are just thoughts, me sitting here wondering and, coming up with some, conclusions, but just things that may cause more questions. Like, I don't have expectations. I have boundaries. And it's less about what you do and more about what I'm going to allow myself to be exposed to. And, I think what people, or what I've experienced, that's a difficult thing to express and actually have a mutual understanding about, is me saying that this is what I need in my life, or this is what works best for me, is not an expectation on you, because ultimately only you can decide if that's who you are as a person or something that you aspire to be, and it's for me to determine if that's what I'm getting from you. But it's not your responsibility to be that. It's just a fact, like either you are or you aren't. And either I am or I'm not to you as well. But I think in these conversations, I think a lot of times the sensitivity to not being able to meet or be what it is someone is saying that they need, it's a trigger. And then a person becomes defensive. And then there's an argument not about the actual thing that we're talking about, whether it's the definition of, me saying this is what I need, or you saying this is what you need. But it becomes a defense mechanism, like, why are you Or who are you to expect this of me? Why do I need to meet this standard that you set forth? Like, what authority do you have to say that to me when you don't meet X, Y, Z, ABC? Like, it just turns into something. And I really make it a point to practice really being in the moment, and honestly, when that comes, it comes with a lot of self accountability, a lot of self reflection. You're pointing inwards a lot more than you're pointing outwards, and for me, the most powerful thing is being able to acknowledge what I'm not, or what I'm not capable of doing, or what I'm not going to do. And I think that I just sometimes wish that I would encounter that kind of energy, because then it keeps the conversation in the right space, and we can talk about, are we working to get to that place where we're meeting? Is it something that we even want to do, either of us? Or is it a moot point because that's not who you want to be, it's not who you think you can be, or where you're at is too far for me to hold space for you to get to that, evolve to that point? All of which are valid, and none of which are a negative connotation on a person's character or their willingness to work in a relationship. Compatibility is a big deal, and because there's constant self-evolution, it looks different, and there's no permanence. Like, this person is always going to be the best fit for you. Like, people that have been in marriages and long-term relationships have had to deal with the person that's at home with them. The person that they're in a committed relationship with is not always, in their complete existence, the person that makes the most sense for them to be with. Just the reality. That's why you have interactions with people outside of your relationship where it just feels like they get you better. They understand. It's an easier interaction. Now, if you met that same person at the same time that you were infatuated and everything was perfect with the partner that you chose to commit to, they may not even hold a candle to that. And it's simply because at that point in time of your existence, or of existence, these two pieces just fit together better. But it doesn't mean that is something that you should run to either. It just means that we're constantly changing. And I guess I choose to accept that as reality and work from that space when I'm having a conversation or a discussion with a woman about the possibility of entering into something. Because the communication about that is important. It's vital, because we have to understand, even if we don't agree, where each other are coming from, so we can communicate effectively and learn how to speak each other's languages. And I'm not talking about love language. I'm not talking about, acts of service and things of that nature, because I don't think I haven't read the book about love languages, so I don't want to speak ill of it, and I'm not being dismissive. I just think that, if you're telling someone how to speak to what triggers love for you, it can become disingenuous if the goal is for them to have you in love with them and not determine whether authentically you guys should even be in love. Because just because I can speak your language doesn't mean I have the best intentions or that we're most fitted. It's really a sign of satisfaction, self-satisfaction, and satisfaction of the other person. And I don't know, maybe the reality of our existence doesn't fit anything traditionally romantic or any type of defined tropes of relationships or romantic interaction. Maybe the reality of life dictates the necessity for some defined versions of successful, loving relationships. I don't know, and that might be a barrier for me, but it seems unrealistic, and I've failed in relationships because I did not have a realistic point of view, or maybe because I didn't buy into. And even as I'm, making this post, I can look at myself and my partners in those situations and realize that I didn't have enough confidence in myself, or the fear of being alone was gigantic. I didn't want to lose the relationship that I had. I chose not to articulate what I was really feeling in those moments. And I believe that if I had, at least I wouldn't feel any regrets as to how everything turned out, because at least I know that I spoke my truth to this person that I loved. It's weird, I encounter people who feel like it's a negative thing to look at your past, or it's, you're stuck in a situation when you're thinking about that. And I've always been a person that's reflected on the things that I've done and the places that I've been and who I was in those situations, and, trying to correlate that to who I am now and who I want to be, and just constantly really evaluating myself. And it's hard to get someone to understand that I am happy or happiest knowing that I am actively trying to improve myself while being happy with who I am in the process. So it's not about never being satisfied. It's about understanding that I can improve, I can get better, giving myself grace, all the while not giving myself an excuse to be stagnant. And maybe that's too much for someone who's potentially or trying to figure out themselves if I'm somebody that they even want to deal with. But I feel it's my responsibility to be the most authentic version of myself at all times, so they can not feel like they've been tricked into liking a particular version of me, or even feeling like I misrepresented who I am. Again, that's very important. So I don't really know what else to say. I think that ultimately, this thing that we're doing is, I don't want to say it's, be cliche and it's this dance, but it is a constant back and forth within ourselves and with the world around us, and trying to match frequencies where you're at in multiple places at the same time is damn near impossible. And if we can't deal with the oscillation, the constant change, and really determining and deciding whether, each of us feels equipped to actually commit to being with each other within that change, and what does that structure look like. Our interactions should be dictated by that. And hopefully this doesn't come across negative. I know my tone is kind of, but it's not. It's really, I'm just trying to be as transparent as possible.